as we discussed yesterday, Jonathan, we need to come full circle here on Joe Manchin Build Back Better plan. Why that's so important to us, as we talked about yesterday and all the shows before, because it's in that Build Back Better plan. If we're going to see immigration reform, that's where it's going to be. And we've been waiting on this Build Back Better plan for more than 6 months, 7 months. We've heard about it. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, parliamentarian. The Democrats have majorities in both houses. We're going to pass it. And we're stuck with one guy in the U.S. Senate who won't go forward with it, who is a Democrat in party affiliation, but certainly not a Democrat in political, in his own policies. And he said that he cannot vote for this Build Back Better plan because he said, if I can't go home back to West Virginia and explain it, I can't vote for it. Despite my best efforts, I cannot explain the sweeping Build Back Better Act in West Virginia. I'm not sure how he can't explain it because people were polled in West Virginia about the specifics in it in terms of the climate change proposals, in terms of the Medicaid proposals, in terms of earned income tax credit proposals. And according to the World Population Review and a West Virginia poll basically said that they favor in a poll, likely poll of 348 voters, they favor by more than 43 points. Is that it, Jill? Where do they favor? Majority by more than 40 points approve of the Build Back Better plan. So 40 points plus in the 40 points plus column. Favor it.
Okay.
Yet he can't explain it. They tested support for creating a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers, those on the temporary protected status. They found by a 40-point plus margin, voters in West Virginia approve of it. Majority also supports back having the wealthiest people in the United States of America and corporations pay for Build Back America. So it is not an inflationary policy,
like he said,
as he's saying, because it's just taking money from one hand and giving it to another. So we don't know exactly why he's saying he can't explain it. West Virginians understand it. They're in favor of it.
It's almost like he keeps on coming with more excuses, and we keep on coming back like, no, that's not the case.
And this is a Republican state, yo-yo, and they're in favor. And you want to know what's interesting about Republican states? And I say this all the time. Most people who are voting Republican are voting against their own economic interests.
Right.
Okay, Republicans are the best marketers in the world. You want to know why? Because they get basically the only people economically who prosper under Republicans are the top 1%. 99% of Americans economically, if they're voting for your economic interests, should be voting Democrat.
I agree.
So when you go to Republicans, are you in favor of earned income tax credit? Are you in favor of Obamacare, which is, medical care for everybody? Are you in favor of all of these Democratic proposals that are in Build Back America on an individual basis? They say yes, including immigration reform. Yet they vote Republican. Why? Because Republicans are good at two things. They're very good at dividing people up based on some social issues that are in the United States. And they're very good at convincing people that if you're voting against your economic interests, money will trickle down to you and you'll be in the top 1% and you'll be able to live like we do.
How?
I don't know how. They're good at that stuff.
What?
Because people say, we don't want to tax and, blah, 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 blah. You're taxing wealthy people.
Right.
They're not taxing you. They're taxing wealthy people. And they're giving wealthy people's money to you. So unless you're in the top 1%, it's not in your economic interest to be voting Republican.
Now that makes sense.
Okay, but so what do? They come up with guns.
Right.
They come up, right.
With
like
different. Those are the social issues.
All the social issues that get people up in a lather.
That makes a lot of sense now.
So, but they do that. Most of the wealthy people, I would believe, not everybody, but a lot of the wealthy people who vote Republican, they're all voting for their economic interests.
Absolutely.
And they don't care about social issues.
Right.
Donald Trump doesn't care about. Donald Trump cared less about social issues.
Right.
Okay, he was a Democrat at one point.
When was that?
He was donating money. Hillary Clinton was at his wedding.
Wow.
All right, so they're all. It's like a bunch of people get together and say, how do we convince a bunch of people to vote for us?
Yeah. Manipulation.
That's
crazy because I was like, how is the percentage so high in West Virginia if that's a Republican state?
Right.
But what you said when you said they are voting against their economic status, it makes sense.
Against their economic interests.
Yeah, all right, yeah,
right.
interest.
Because if you go back, I have on my card here somewhere. West Virginia.
So they're definitely not going to vote.
West Virginia is the second poorest state.
Wow.
The West Virginia is the second poorest state in the United States. They have a median household income of $48,850. Wow. They have a poverty rate of 17%. This is a state that should be voting Democrat. If any state should be voting Democrat, it would be a state where 17% of the people live in poverty. And the Democrats are providing programs to pull people out of poverty, to give them an opportunity. And they're voting Republican because the Republicans say, you know what? It's trickle-down economics. If the rich people have money, we'll spend, it'll trickle down to you, and maybe you'll make some money, and it gives you an opportunity to be in the top 1%.
That's the dumbest thing
They
ever.
sell the American dream where there's no American dream.
That is wild.
They sell an American dream where there's no American dream. That's what they sell.
Yeah.
And they're very good at it.
I'm not going to hold you. That would be, those are not the type of people I would want to be around.
Meanwhile, so I don't know what's going to happen with this Build Back Better plan. Every time the Democrats think they got a deal, then they don't got a deal. Mm-hmm. And now once they have a deal, what's going to be the immigration?
Right. So we're not even at that point.
We're not even at that point yet. Let's get everybody to agree to vote for it. So they have an entire House of Representatives that passed it, and they got 49 senators and one holdout. Meanwhile, a State Department spokesperson has told CNN that refugee admissions are going to start again. They were on hold for several months because the United States was dealing with the refugees from Afghanistan. But this week, admissions are going to kick back into gear, meaning that refugees from around the world who have undergone processing and checks but were not able to enter the United States are going to be able to do it now.
I know they're happy about that.
Yes. Nearly 55,000 Afghans. It was because they were resettling 55,000 Afghans have been resettled nationwide. Mm-hmm. So they took in 55,000 refugees from Afghanistan. The rest of the world was on hold. 20,500 Afghans still sitting at U.S. military bases and have not been allowed to enter the United States.
Dang.
And finally, I think this is a good thing, Yo-Yo. What do you think? On December 21st, ICE officials have said that they're going to start they're going to start a program that hopefully they're going to be able to roll out nationwide that are going to have every ICE officer wear a body camera to film and audio record all of their interactions with anybody that they come across at the border.
I know they are not happy about that.
Yeah, the official told reporters that cameras are expected to be rolled out first among specialized teams in ICE's Homeland Security Investigations Division, which is 55 agents in New York and New Jersey and Houston, Texas. Eventually, it's going to be rolled out everywhere. Now, groups like the American Civil Liberties Union have called on expanded use of the cameras in law enforcement to provide a record of abuse, potential abuse. I mean, not every time an officer, I mean, let's not get carried away. Not every time an officer comes into contact with somebody, they're abusing you. But it's actually, I'll be honest with you.
It's majority. I'm not going to hold you.
No. I'm going to tell you something. If you are a decent, good, finish me out. Let me finish my
I'm
sentence.
going to let you land.
Okay, let me land the plane before you jump down my throat. All right? If you are a decent, well-intentioned officer or peace officer, whether it's Homeland Security, a local police officer, FBI, whatever it may be, okay, you should welcome having a body camera. You should welcome it.
Oh, yeah.
Because A, you're like, I got nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want to be accused of doing anything wrong when I'm doing my job.
Right.
Okay? If you are, so, I mean, I think the body cameras are there to protect the good cops and protect the people that they are coming into contact with. I think it works both ways.
Absolutely.
I think only the people who would object to this
Are crooked.
are bad cops.
Yep.
Wouldn't you? Did I land the plane right?
Yes. I thought you was about to say something else.
No, I landed.
did.
I was a very smooth landing. Very smooth landing.
I mean, it was a little turbulence at first.
Turbulence. None whatsoever. So I think it's a good thing that ICE agents eventually gonna be doing that.
That's wild that it wasn't even a law in the first place, because this is a prime example of how they don't treat immigrants as humans. Like the way we have cops having to wear body cams, this should have already been the same thing with ICE.
You want to know something? You want to have better civil rights by the police officers? Have a national law that every police officer wears a body cam.
Yeah,
you have the technology to do it.
You have the money, you have the technology.
I mean, you shouldn't have to be in the street. The only reason the cops who killed George Floyd went to jail was because other people were there filming. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have to rely on strangers to film your abuse.
Right.
Shouldn't have to. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. If politicians are saying, we really want to be able to still have police, and we want to reform the police. The best way to reform the police is videotape it all.
It doesn't hurt anybody.
It doesn't hurt you. It's helping the good cop.
Right.
It's helping the people that they come into contact with, because the people feel if you come into contact and you're being filmed, you feel more comfortable in front of a police officer.
I literally see no con in that. Like,
okay, the only con would be,
what's the con?
If you're a bad cop.
Oh, yeah.
You're a bad cop.
You landed it.
Landed that perfect. 10s across the board. All right? All the Olympic judges say 10, 10, 10,
no,
10, 10.
You did.
Meanwhile, a watershed moment in New York City. And by the way, we talked about this too, and I said I didn't know if I was in favor of it. I'm still not sure. A new law allows non-citizens to vote. Now, 800,000 non-citizens in New York City have the right to vote in elections. And all you have to do is show that you have been physically living in the city for 30 days. Nobody's asking your immigration status anymore in order for you to be able to vote in city elections. Problem is this, as I see it. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is my issue with it. From now, tell me if I land this or not. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to disagree with me on this.
I don't know. I feel like we agreed last time, unless anything changed.
I don't know if anything's changed. Let's
hear.
All right. So from 10,000 feet up in the air, where we're flying right now before I land the plane.
Okay.
Okay. Seems like a good idea. Why not let everybody vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like a good idea. Problem is this, two problems I have with it. Mm-hmm. Number one is I think it's going to be very confusing for people who did not live in the United States, growing up in the United States, don't understand the political system in the United States, to understand that they can vote in a local election, but they can't vote in a state election, that they can't vote in a federal election. If they vote in a federal election, they've committed a crime that they would go to jail. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So people are going to start getting confused. What am I allowed to vote in and what am I not allowed to vote in? I think that's a huge problem. And I think the other huge problem is me as a New York City resident, lifelong resident, okay, who plans on living here for the rest of their life and understands the politics, somebody who comes from another country, undocumented, comes to the U.S. for 30 days, gets to decide on our leaders. And I don't know that if that person who comes after 30 days is there in a year from now, or 2 years from now, or somebody who votes, comes on a temporary work visa for 1 year, and then goes back home and is completely legal. They're voting for our leaders, and they're voting for leaders that will affect me in the future when they're not even living here anymore.
I agree with that.
So I have problems on those two. Now, people could argue, well, an American citizen can move to the city for a year and move away. True. That is true. But when people are on work visas and people are new immigrants, they're certainly much more likely to come and go, more transient than perhaps an American who's moving for a job. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I put myself in that position as well. Like, say I moved to Mexico, or I moved to France or something, and I'm just there for a little bit, and like me personally, I wouldn't want to vote for something I'm not really, sure what's going on. You know?
Not only you're not sure what's going on, and then you don't have a stake in the outcome because you're leaving.
Yeah, because I'm leaving, and like the people that are actually going to be staying there,
So I'm not sure if I love this idea, although it's nice to say, yes, everyone has a right to vote.
Right, I love that because, we all deserve it. Maybe if they do, like, you've been here for a certain amount of years and, we know that you've established yourself, you have a business, a family here. So then we know it's like, oh, okay.
Permanent residents can vote too.
Oh, right.
So, as a permanent resident, I just think they opened it up to everybody. And maybe they shouldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're a permanent resident. Okay. All right. Yeah, you should have a right to vote. You're living here just like me. You should decide, what days the garbage gets picked up.
Right.
You live here. You have a right to that.
Right.
But I don't know. I kind of like flip back and forth on it.
I got you.
Yeah.
By the way.
What?
Public service announcement. Denisha is here.
She is.
She's finally here. She sees that you shaved for her.
Oh.
And I've actually gotten a text earlier about good ass, and it means a hot girl.
I was right.
Yes. Or she has, good wop, as Cardi B would say.
I was right. Oh, I didn't say that.
Right. But you thought it.
I did not think that. I didn't even know that. So I didn't know there was a Cardi B situation going on there.
So I got this from a Jamaican
All right,
off the hot press.
All right, so,
So now we know.
I wasn't off.
You wasn't off. That's what I had to tell you.
You thought I was manipulating her name for a joke.
I thought so.
I know. I was right. I landed there, too.
You did. You've been landing today.
You know what? The Olympic judges, 10
across the board.
Across the board. All right. By the way, when we were away, I don't think this is news to anybody, but I still think it's important that we talk about it.
Yeah.
The 3 white men who had murdered Ahmaud Arbery, they were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Life sentences for Travis McMichael. He's the one who fatally shot Arbery. His father, Gregory McMichael, they have no possibility of parole. They are going to live in jail for the rest of their lives and die in jail.
Good.
Their neighbor, William Roddy Bryan, he's going to be eligible for parole in 30 years. He's going to be in his late 80s. My guess at that point is he probably won't make life to his late 80s.
Listen.
And only reason he's eligible for parole is because that's the law in Georgia. The judge said he would have given him a life sentence as well.
Wow. Good.
Yeah.
Good. The sad thing is, like, we actually were super, like, I didn't know what they were going to get. You don't know if they're
Right.
going to let them go or not.
And listen, Georgia's not known for justice for these
Right.
situations.
Right.
They're not the poster boy or the poster child for justice in these type of civil rights situations. So I was happy that, at least justice was served in this particular case.
Yeah.
And no matter if justice is served or not, we always forget, or maybe sometimes people forget.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody died, Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah.
He should be alive.
An innocent person
He
who
should
had
be
a
alive.
family.
He should be alive.
His family's sad.
He should be alive,
Yeah.
right? To go be the father or the mother of this child, to lose a child, to outlive your child, and to outlive your child because of senseless violence, because of the color of his skin.
It's crazy.
I don't know how I would live.
I was watching the family speak, asking for life for the three men, and even his sister, saying, I have a child that, he was supposed to be in that child's life as an uncle,
Right.
And it's just heartbreaking. So I'm happy that
I am too.
this happened.
And another person who deserves to go to jail. A lot of jails this week, or this past couple weeks. Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine. I keep calling her Ghislaine. Ghislaine.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, yeah. Jeffrey Epstein's wife, or
girlfriend /
madam.
Yes.
Madame.
On December 29th, a jury in New York found Ghislaine Maxwell guilty on 5 of 6 counts.
Good.
Related to her role in Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse. Nobody still believes Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, by the way.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see how...
It was too many powerful people that was under his belt.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Ghislaine Maxwell in jail.
Oh.
Right? Because I don't believe he committed suicide, but some people do.
I don't believe so either.
Now, she's facing up to 65 years in prison. She's another person who's going to not make it out.
Yeah.
The jury was made up of 6 women, 6 men. They deliberated for more than 40 hours. Prosecutors argued that Maxwell conspired with Jeffrey Epstein to set up a scheme to lure young girls into sexual relationships with Epstein from 1994 to 2004. These were young women who were girls under 18.
They were girls, little
under
girls.
18, 14, 15, 16 years old. Her defense, she was a scapegoat for Epstein's actions and attacked the memories and motivations of the women who say they were sexually abused. The jury didn't buy it, and she's going away for life.
Bye. Nah.
Now, the arrest has drawn the attention of a very famous prince by the name of Andrew, who was a very close friend of Maxwell's and later very close friend of Epstein. There he is, Prince Andrew with Epstein, with Virginia Giuffre.
What's he got to
Virginia
say?
Giuffre, this blonde, she was 17 at the time, and she claims, her allegation is that Ghislaine coerced her, manipulated her to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17 years old, which makes Prince Andrew, if you believe Virginia Giuffre, makes Prince Andrew a sexual predator.
Yep.
Now, journalist Michael Wolff's book titled Landslide, The Final Days of the Trump Presidency, claims that Donald Trump considered issuing a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. The book states Trump took a sudden interest in Maxwell's case in the final weeks of his presidency. The former president allegedly asked an aide in the White House, has she said anything about me? Is she going to talk about me? Well, apparently she didn't. Maybe that's what'll keep her alive.
Wow.
Who knows? So.
Take them all down. I want to hear her sing.
Yeah. And finally, coronavirus. We're 10 days into 2022. I read in the New York Times today that the World Health Organization says that in the next 2 months, they anticipate that 1 out of every 2 people in Europe will have had COVID. It is running so rampant. And if it's running rampant there, it's running rampant everywhere. It doesn't seem like everyone's getting it now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've known so many people who got it within the past couple of
And
weeks.
these statistics don't mean anything to me anymore because there's so many home tests right now, people aren't reporting it. I'll give you a perfect example. Both of my kids had COVID this past week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're in university. They did it. They took their home test.
So it wasn't
Not
even reported.
Not even reported. Nobody knows they had it.
Sheesh, that's crazy.
They had it. They quarantined, and then they're better now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So these statistics, to me, I'm not even going to read them anymore.
I was about to say, we might as well not.
They're worthless to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I know at least over the break, I know at least 20 people that got it. And over half of them had never had COVID. So, and they did at-home tests and found out.
Right. So what do these statistics mean? They don't mean jack, right? And the Biden administration has lifted its temporary travel ban on 8 countries in South Africa. And the reason is that was not stopping Omicron.
Right.
That was the most ridiculous travel ban ever. He just did it to make himself, I'm in charge. I'm doing something. All right, time for tea, Yo-Yo.
Let's do it.
We have some tea. It's tea time. We had a long schmooze.
We did.
I can use some tea.
Hey.
Oh, here's Jeremy, the butler.
Happy belated birthday, Butler.
Happy birthday, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, the T-shirt is not here. Had to
I was like,
have to
what?
quarantine for the T-shirt.
Do we have any more music, or is just 10 seconds of music? There we go.
There we go. What
Yeah,
kind
we
is
have
this?
to have our music when we drink our tea.
All right, what kind of tea
It
is
is
this?
ginger honey.
Ginger honey.
Ginger
Is
honey.
this new
Ginger
honey?
honey.
This is new honey. Ginger honey, okay. This is from, thank you very much. Easy Ian from our new TriCaster guy brought us tea
From the Caribbean, and it smells very
This is-
gingery.
what is this,
Ginger
ginger?
honey.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
How are you? Thank you.
Our
very
first
much.
of the year.
Just talk amongst yourselves, all right? Yeah.
Tickles my throat.
It's actually very good. After I've been talking for 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is ginger is good for your like immune system and stuff too, right?
I would like to have tea time every day during the show.
Yeah,
after the schmooze.
Yeah. This is great, guys.
We're taking a break for tea.
It's yummy.
Isn't this uncomfortable silence?
Well, yeah, so let's go into tea time.
I was just waiting for you. I was just waiting for you to just get very uncomfortable.
Success.
All right. Actually, this is kind of sad, Yo-Yo. We lost so many good people
Already.
So many well-known people just in the last 2 weeks that we felt that we needed to talk about them all.
Yeah.
It's a sad tea time to
Yeah.
start. Sidney Poitier,
Legend.
groundbreaking.
Yeah.
He was 94 years old. He lived a good life.
He did.
I hope I live to 94.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And loved just like he was.
Yes.
You know.
He was the son of two Bahamian tomato farmers. I didn't even know that.
So I just found out actually from
I just found this out by reading it just here.
I found it out when he passed. Someone who actually watches the show from the Bahamas. We talk pretty regular, and he was like, "Do you know that Sidney Poitier was actually Bahamian?"
I did not know that. And do you know who is the first black actor to win an Oscar award?
Sidney
Poitier, right, for Best Actor for his 1964 role in Lilies of the Field. He was also a top box office draw, attracting audience members to movies like In the Heat of the Night and The Defiant Ones. He starred in a number of classics, including Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? I've seen that one. As the prominent doctor who wishes to marry a young white woman he only recently met. His rise paralleled the growth of the civil rights movement from the 1960s. As racial attitudes evolved and segregation laws were challenged and fell, Poitier was the performer Hollywood turned to for the stories of progress. He was a trailblazer. He's a fantastic actor.
Absolutely.
Loved by everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever heard in your entire... I've never heard in my entire lifetime. I've never read anything or heard any stories that anyone ever said anything bad about him.
Actually, so funny that you say that because, you know, I'm also in the acting
Right.
world. I know so many people that have met him. Like one of my mentors, he was in the first Lion King Broadway.
Right.
He's one of my mentors. He said he remembers getting off stage and the people, the like manager or whatever, saying that Sidney Poitier wants to meet you, and he was just like sweating his self out. He was like, "What?"
Right.
Like this legendary actor, and he went down to the green room, and all he did was hugged him, and my mentor just cried in his shoulders, and he was like, "Great job." And he said that was the only time he met him, but he basically said like, "This is you. I'm passing the torch. You killed it, and you know, good luck with the rest of your life." And I know a couple of people that have said the same thing.
Okay, I will say this: that's a class act.
Yeah.
Class act.
Yeah.
Class act.
To a young black actor at the time.
Class act.
Yeah.
But you don't see that all the time.
You don't. You don't.
Bob Saget.
Oh.
He was known as Danny Tanner in Full House. He was also America's Funniest Home Videos guy.
He was America's TV dad.
He was.
Like that was my white daddy. I grew up watching Full House.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a kid when it was.
I absolutely was.
Right,
yeah.
Nobody knows what the cause of death was, but detectives say they found no signs of foul play, no drug use. Maybe he had a heart attack. Who knows?
And it's so sad.
Yeah, he was found dead in his hotel room, just like a few hours after doing a comedy set at a local comedy club.
And he literally just posted his full year of 2022. He was going to be doing a whole tour. So it just really sucks that, you know, he wasn't able to do it. At least he did get to, you know, keep on doing what he loved.
And I saw there was a lot of video of a lot of different actors and actresses coming to his home to wish condolences to his wife, including John Stamos, who was Uncle Jesse. The Olsen twins paid tribute to him. And everyone from that show, actually, I saw, other than the Olsen twins, who were not in the LA area, but I saw everyone else from the Full House show went and actually paid their condolences.
Yeah, I heard nothing but good things about him too.
They say very nice things.
Very
about
nice
him.
things.
Yes.
That's a good thing to, you know, leave a good legacy to
you know,
leave.
and I you know, I follow a lot of, you know, actors and actresses on Instagram like everybody else, and they're all posting very nice things about Bob Saget.
Even Tiffany Haddish, Jaleel White, you know, Urkel. Like you have all these people, Marlon Wayans. You got people that you wouldn't even think that had any type of, you know, dealings with him and saying no, he helped me out. You know, so that's a class act. Another class act.
And here's another class act, Betty White. You love Betty White.
I do.
Right. TV's Golden Girl. She died on December 31st, 99 years old. You know, Bob Saget, he died too young, 65.
Yeah, that's very young. That's very young.
That's too young.
That is too young.
I'm 53.
Yeah. That is too
So
young.
you know, I'm like, I get scared when I hear that stuff.
Yeah.
She was 99. I hope I'm more like Betty White, 99.
Yeah, a few weeks from her 100th birthday.
Yeah. And she was going to celebrate it on January 17th, which is just coming up. And ahead of her 100th year, this was going to be the People magazine cover about, she said, she would, and she was telling People's magazine, because they had the cover already prepared, "I'm so lucky to be in such good health and feel so good at this age. It's amazing." Now, according to White, being born a cockeyed optimist was the key to her upbeat nature. "I got it from my mom, and that never changed." She was born in 1922. In 2010, at age 87, she started the Snickers commercial during the Super Bowl.
That was the best Snickers commercial.
That's all over the YouTube, you know, when she's like
You're playing like Betty White. That's not what your mother said last night. Like, what? That was brilliant.
Yeah. So she'll be missed too.
Yeah.
She earned 3 Emmy nominations while appearing on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. You remember that show?
Yep.
That was before your time.
No, I watched Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
I watched I Love Lucy. I watched the Anderson. What was it? The
Golden Girls. Golden Girls.
No, I definitely watched Golden Girls. But I'm saying I've watched. What is it?
Which one? I just
My Three Sons. I've watched. I used to watch, you know, old school shows growing up. So. That's why it really, you know, affects me. This is why I feel like I know exactly who they are. I know Mary Tyler Moore. I know Dick Van Dyke. You know, I used to watch all of those.
She became the first woman to win a daytime Emmy Outstanding Game Show host for the NBC show Just Men in 1983. She was nominated for the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Comedy in 2011, 12, and 13 for Work in Hot Cleveland. She won a total, she was nominated 21 Primetime Emmys.
Wow. And I love that, she kind of reinvented herself.
Now, you have a story about Betty White.
I do.
What's your story?
So this is why I really love Betty White, and this is a story that a lot of people don't even know about. So she had a show on NBC in 1954, and she actually had a black tap dancer on there named Arthur Duncan, and they were out. People were outraged at the fact that she would have a black, anything on her show, and demanded her to take him off. And she absolutely declined, and not only declined, but put him on even more and created his career. So they even came up and on some Steve Harvey show, a couple years ago or whatever, they came together and spoke about the story, and
Really?
a lot of people don't know about this.
I did not know about this.
Exactly, in 1954. So for someone to do that back then and still support
Yeah, because even back then, women were not
Right.
This is a woman in 1954,
woman,
not even a man.
Right.
They could have just throw her out and
Easily.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right.
It's one of my favorite stories.
Also a class act.
Yeah.
Also a class
A
act.
lot of class acts.
Yes. Peter Bogdanovich, the Oscar-nominated writing director of The Last Picture Show. I never saw any of these movies, but I know he's a famous director. Have you ever seen any of them? What's
No.
Up, Doc? Paper Moon?
No.
He died. He was a director. The Last Picture Show is a black and white drama set in Texas town. Earned 8 Academy Awards. He passed away too. What's interesting about Peter Bogdanovich, do you remember in the 1980s the story about Dorothy Stratton?
I know about that name.
Okay, Dorothy Stratton was Playmate of the Year in Playboy in 1981 when Playboy magazine was really popular. Every man wanted to have a Playboy magazine, and she was this beautiful blonde bombshell 1981 Playmate of the Year. And she was dating Peter Bogdanovich. And she had a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend who came from Canada and kidnapped her from Peter Bogdanovich's house and killed her.
Whoa.
It's a very, very well-known crime story.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. John Madden.
Oh, man. All
Died,
sports
legendary
lovers.
NFL coach, Hall of Fame, sports broadcasting icon, died at 85 years old. He would never fly on an airplane.
Really?
He was terrified. He would drive around America in an RV from game to game.
What?
Yes. And then
Yikes.
and then when EA Sports needed a face for this cover, he was the number one analyst on NFL. They went to 3 or 4 other people who turned it down.
Really?
Yes, and then they finally settled. He was like the 4th choice.
Wow.
Can you imagine if you're the first 3 people? I think it was Joe Montana and
Really?
a couple of other well-known, another coach, well-known people turned it down, and eventually he took it. And
I was wondering how he got.
Yeah, he ended up making about $150 million. Could have made more because he didn't take stock options, but he ended up making about $150 million just by having his name associated with that game.
Wow.
And I'll tell you a class act.
I'm surprised it's not more. Everything was about Madden.
I'll tell you a class act about John Madden.
Okay.
When I don't know if everybody knows this, I've had knee problems my entire life, going back to when I was 15, 16 years old. So I broke my leg when I was 15 years old. And I had surgery in the hospital right here at Lenox Hill Hospital in New York City.
Okay.
And back then, and this was 1983, it wasn't you go in for surgery and you walk out the same day. I mean, nobody walks out from leg surgery,
Right.
but now everything's outpatient. Back then, you would sit in the hospital for 2 weeks in a plaster cast from your, all the way from your hip all the way to your toes. And I was in a room there at Lenox Hill Hospital on the children's floor. And in the next room was John Madden's son, who broke his leg playing football. He was my age.
Oh, wow.
John Madden came to watch to visit his son on Monday. They were watching Monday Night Football, and he didn't have to. I didn't know that he was in his son's room. Nobody, he just kind of slowly walks in, and he comes and he knocks on my door and he says, "Would you like to watch football with us?" And the nurse, and the nurse, I'll never forget this. And the nurse wheeled me in, and he ordered pizza for me and his son. And the three of us watched Monday Night Football in the hospital, in Lenox Hill Hospital.
That is
Do you know how cool is that
wild.
for a 16-year-old kid?
What?
To be watching, NFL football with John Madden, who was,
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Wow.
Also a class act.
Yeah.
Also a class
Wow.
act. Yeah.
Great story.
And finally, well, it's not finally. Well, thank God it's finally. We have so many people who died.
I know. Thanks.
Desmond Tutu, a cleric who used his pulpit and spirited oratory to help bring down apartheid in South Africa, became the leading advocate of peaceful reconciliation under black majority rule. He died on December 26th in Cape Town. The cause of death was cancer. And Archbishop Tutu continued to make occasional forays into the limelight, even when he got sick. In 2021, he approached his 90th birthday. He pitched into a fraught debate as disinformation about coronavirus vaccines swirled around the globe. A lot of
Can we get to some good
Yes.
tea, some happy tea?
So nearly a year ago, in February 2021, Kim Kardashian, the first lady of reality television, Yo-Yo. I know you've been anxious to talk about this. All right. She filed for divorce from Kanye. The couple's 7 years of marriage, Kardashian, who's 41 and West, who's 44, have become one of the most iconic celebrity couples. Now, late last year, after hosting Saturday Night Live, Kardashian started dating Pete Davidson, comedian. He's the SNL comedian. He's been on a roller coaster. They started on a roller coaster in Orange County. Following a couple of months, the two have appeared at a screening of Spider-Man. They went for dinner in Staten Island. It appears that they're dating. Davidson, he's 28. You get this, Pete Davidson?
All these other girls do, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't get it. My kids love him, by the way.
I mean, he's funny.
Yeah, my kids love
I
him.
actually watched
My kids love him.
his special with Miley Cyrus for
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, and it was funny.
Yeah,
It was funny.
my kids love him.
Yeah.
He's 28. He's dating Kim Kardashian, 41. I guess Kim could date whoever she wants. She's Kim Kardashian,
Yeah.
right?
She's got her kids and got her businesses.
Pete Davidson, just so you know, some former girlfriends: Ariana Grande, Kaya Gerber, Margaret Qualley. I don't know who Margaret Qualley is. Kate Beckinsale.
They're all beautiful.
They're all beautiful. I'm sure they are. Meanwhile, Kanye was at a concert. He's asking Kim to come back to her.
Yeah, that was.
And now, last Saturday, he was at Carbone in Miami, which Carbone is very high-end, Michelin-starred restaurant, originated here in New York in West Village, in the West Village here in New York. Very hard to get a reservation. I mean,
Really?
you got to be Kanye to get a reservation
Wow.
at Carbone. All right, I mean, you just can't call up and say, "Hey, I want to come."
Right.
Yeah, hang up on you. He met a woman by the name of Julia Fox, who's 31 years old, and she was in the movie Uncut Gems with, she was the wife in Uncut Gems to Adam Sandler. So now they're all kind of, dating new people. What's interesting is that Julia Fox used to work for Kim Kardashian. Is that the story, Yo-Yo?
I don't know.
the story.
I don't know if she used to work, but I
Yeah.
just know that she is a fan of Kim Kardashian and the
Right.
Kardashians. So there was the whole little thing that she had said. Well, I mean, if anybody, if he was gonna date anybody, I'd rather her be a fan of me, just like she is, rather than a hater. So she got my blessings. Kim Kardashian basically saying, "Look, go ahead. Like you're dealing with a fan of mine. I'm having my fun."
So what do you think? You think they're going to get back together? 'Cause,
Who?
I mean,
Kim and Kanye?
yeah,
Absolutely
Kanye
not.
bought a house across the street from her.
And that's trifling.
Okay,
That's trifling.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get back together.
They're not going to.
Yeah, they love the reality of it all.
Nah,
the whole
but-
reality thing. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nah, Kanye is way too. How do I put this?
Off the wall.
Yeah, there you go.
He's
And she already has all those kids, and then having to take care of Kanye on top of that, I think she's already all the way turned off. She's like, no. I think there's absolutely love there. She loves him, but I don't think that she's in love with him anymore.
Now you want to talk about how off the wall Kanye is. He now is gunning to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin.
Okay, so how?
Yes, because he wants to become a citizen of Russia as well, and he would like to.
Why not?
Yes, he also wants to do a series of Sunday services in Russia.
In Russia?
Yes, and he would like to ultimately become a citizen of Russia, but before he does that, he would like to meet Vladimir Putin.
Exactly what I'm saying. Kim she ain't got no time for this. She
Vlad-
ain't got
Vladimir
time for this.
Putin.
She don't got time for it. Like, she out there having fun with Pete. He's a good time. So.
All right, well, that's our tea. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.